Good afternoon, everyone. Let me see if this works out. Yeah. There the desk goes. Welcome to WElearn. It's Friday afternoon, 3 o'clock Central African time. So as always, there's a WElearn. When we started streaming back this morning, I hope that was the end of our technical challenges for this week. But unfortunately, it was not to be. As you saw during our game drive, our mixing desk is causing some problems, which means that I can't do a WElearn that actually uses computer screen too much, because that has to go through the mixing desk. And on top of that, actually, just before I was preparing this, my computer itself also has had some hiccups, and I lost some of the stuff that I was preparing for you. But so I decided actually to do a little bit of a different thing. I'm going to start up the mixing desk and my computer anyway, because there were some questions. Actually, you might be wondering why you don't see me. And that is because I didn't switch the picture yet. Yeah. And now you don't see me still, but that's actually on purpose this time. Because of some of those issues, actually I decided just to show you a little bit about some of the books and information, where I find my information for the WElearn, and just even before I did the WElearns, just to learn more about nature. So I just took some of the books that I have with me from my room to the final control here, and I'm just going to go through them a little bit over the show. Because some of you had also asked about the books and what the names of the books were and things like that. So I'm just going to show them to you. Of course, by no means are those the only books that are available about wildlife in South Africa. There's lots and lots more, but these are the books that I particularly use, and actually I'm quite happy with all of them. And again, that's not to say that other books aren't just as good or maybe even better, but these are the ones that I found in the shops and that I used, and actually I'm quite happy with. So over the course of this show, I'm just going to show them to you a little bit, and afterwards, maybe today, but otherwise definitely tomorrow, I'll put a link with some of the names of these books on the forum, so that for those of you that are interested in the books, you can have a look at it. And well, if you want to order them through either your local bookstore or Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble or Bol.com or Kalahari.net or whatever place that you actually do buy books. So yeah, that's so a bit of a difference. Enough about the books for now. Let me just get myself in the picture. Just up a little bit. Yeah, okay. So yeah, again, welcome. Seems the mixing desk is holding for the moment. We had some problems with it this morning, but hopefully now it's been off a little bit. It had a bit of a rest, so it can work. One of the other things I wanted to show is, because there were still some questions after the WElearn I did last time about GPS, specifically about the controls on the GPS map that is on the social network and the Wild Earth site. So as soon as my computer is started up, actually I just wanted to quickly show you, just for 1 or 2 minutes, how that works and how those controls work. The only thing is also with some questions that we got, there are a couple of tabs that you can select on the map there. One is to show a map view. The second one is to show a satellite view. You actually get the satellite picture. The third one is called hybrid, where they show actually both, so the satellite picture with roads on it. And the fourth one is actually is Earth. So that is actually there's more functionality that is normally only present in Google Earth. But unfortunately that only works if you run a Windows computer. That plugin is actually doesn't work on Macintosh, Apple computers. Macintosh is not a brand as one, so it doesn't work on Apple computers. That's one of the problems with that. So let me just quickly see if I can start it up. Yeah, while that starts up, just this morning in the chat there was a question about what is the difference between doves and pigeons. Is there any difference? Because if you look at all these species of doves and pigeons, they look fairly similar. They clearly belong to one group. And I've been looking into it a little bit more after that, but there doesn't seem to be one clear reason that if it has this characteristic it's a dove, if it has that characteristic it's a pigeon. In general, the bigger ones tend to be called pigeons and the smaller ones dove, but it's not an absolute thing. I've looked through the species list, and some of the ones that are called dove are just as big as the one that people call pigeons. So it's not very clear cut, and I think it's just something that grew historically, and that it just depended on which name stuck for which species of pigeon slash dove. So if anybody does have any concrete or definite information on that, I'll be interested to hear that. But I haven't been able to find anything that clearly distinguishes between them. I've also looked at the species names, whether there was a link between whether it was called a dove or a pigeon and then the name, but also there I didn't really find anything specific. So let me just quickly go to the site and also switch it on the PC here. Yeah, well, this all is worked out. Let me just actually point the camera at some of the books that I brought with me. You can see it's actually quite a neat little stack. And as you can see, most of them are field guides, so fairly portable format, with the exception of the one on the left, obviously, and that's the one I mentioned it a couple of times. That's the you could call it the Bird Bible for South Africa. That's Robert's Birds, the last edition, and that actually has lots of information on every bird species that you can find in South Africa. But obviously, it's way too big to carry around with you. Typically, it weighs about 6 kilos, and but also for that book there is a special field guide that is a bit more portable with it. So that is the Robert's Bird Guide. And anything you would like to know about birds in a lot of detail, I'll actually see if I can open it on a page and show you. Let me just see if I can tilt the camera a little bit. See, there's for all birds, it has little plates in it with the bird names and the species. And then for each bird also it has a distribution list. It talks about identification, what the bird sounds like, movements of the birds, the habitat, general habits, if it molts, how big it is, lots and lots of things. So, and that does it for all the birds in South Africa. So that's a very, very useful tool if you want to find out something about birds, about eggs, nests, habits, special things, identification. So that's. But as I said, it's something that you typically keep at home, and then if you during your trips come up with some questions, you look it up there because it's a bit bulky to carry around with you. Let me just go on this. It seems the computer is still acting up a little bit. So let me show you a couple more books in the meantime. There's another book about birds that I mentioned last time as well. And there's not so much a field guide about which bird species and how to identify, but it's more about where to find the birds that you are looking for. It's called Southern African Bird Finder, and it actually lists a whole lot of places and actually bird routes in different areas of South Africa, which for each location actually how good of a birding location it is, with some little maps in it, and also which species specifically you can find there, whether it's easily accessible, whether you need a 4x4 drive. Lots of interesting information. So that's very valuable for planning your trips. And then one of the bird guides I use myself. It's called the Cecil Birds of Southern Africa. You can see it is fairly well used, but it's still holding out. So I'm not getting a new one yet.